Hey sports card fans, it's John, Wade Boggs fan. Hope you're all doing well. It's time for another look at the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay. This time we're looking at the month of May 2023. As always, I break my top 10 lists down into three, those from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Now, last month I made note that for the top 10 lists from the 1950s, there were no 52 Topps Mickey Mantles. Well, the month of May makes up for that. But in addition to those Mickey Mantle cards, there's some other interesting cards that made the top 10 lists from the 1950s. The 1960s, there's a pretty diverse group of cards that made this month's top 10 list. And for the 1970s, yes, there are a couple of those PSA registry sales that took place. Other than that, some other interesting cards that made the top 10 list. So let's go take a look. Starting off with the top 10 from the 1950s. Coming in at number 10, we have this 1954 Topps Hank Aaron rookie card in a PSA 7. Now, this is a older slab. I did note on the back picture there, you can see that right corner, the top right and the bottom right corner. Looks like it may have some issues. Again, older slab, got a PSA 7. Not sure with today's standards whether it would still garner a PSA 7, but overall, a really nice Hank Aaron rookie card. This one sold on May 8th for $16,500. It was a best offer. The VCP average price of a PSA 7 is currently $14,807. Coming in at number 9, we have the 1952 Topps Willie Mays in a nice PSA 5 example. Other than the off-centering, overall it is a really nice looking example there. This one sold on May 16th for $16,925.55. No, that's not an auction price. That is a buy it now. The VCP average is only $12,487, so this one sold for quite a premium. It is in somewhat of an older slab. I'm not sure if this sale is maybe an outlier, but someone hit that buy it now button for nearly $17,000. Coming in at number 8, we have the first 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. This one in a PSA 1. You can definitely see how this got a PSA 1. A little surprised it didn't get an authentic. This is a newer slab. I guess all the characteristics of the card were there. Obviously, you have on the front some serious paper loss right at the top and down at the bottom, maybe even a thumbtack hole at the top and bottom. On the back, you have some paper loss as well. But even in this condition, this card sold on May 9th for $22,301. This one was an auction, 67 bids. The VCP average price for a PSA 1 is currently $25,188. So the buyer got a overall pretty good deal, I guess. We've on these top 10 lists, I've seen some real beaters show up as a PSA 1. Overall, if you don't mind the paper loss, I mean, the image itself of Mickey Mantle is pretty well intact. You do have something there down around his throat. If you don't mind a little paper loss, very nice entry-level, low-grade example there of the 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. Coming in at number 7, we have the 1951 Bowman Willie Mays rookie card. This one in a PSA 7 off-center. You don't see too many qualifying grades show up in the top 10 lists. This is a older slab, but sold on May 4th for $22,500. It was a buy it now. The current VCP average price is that $22,500 sale because the last PSA 7 off-center sold for only $4,150 not that long ago, October 28th of 2020. So pretty good appreciation there on the qualifying grade of a PSA 7 for this Willie Mays rookie card. Coming in at number 6, we have this 1952 Topps Sam Jethro in a PSA 9. What a sharp looking card. This listing here did not have a picture of the back of the card, but the listing did note that it is the red back version. There's also a black back version. Looking at the population for the red back, I believe, has a little bit more cards graded than the black, but this one sold on May 15th for $30,000. It was a buy it now. Of course, the VCP average price is that $30,000 sale price. The last PSA 9 sold for $3,824 back in May of 2016. This PSA 9 example, newly slabbed, became just the third PSA 9 copy of this card, again with the red back. There are no PSA 10s. On to card number 5. We have another 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. This one coming in slightly higher grade at a 1.5. Overall, if you don't mind a little bit of, it looks like there may be some staining of the cardboard there, top and bottom. There is a crease sort of goes through his face there, but all in all, Yankees maybe seem a little bit blurry, maybe a little registry error there. Overall, centering isn't that bad. A little bit off top to bottom, but for me, that's a really nice centered Mickey Mantle, especially for a 1.5. The back looks pretty clean as well. This one sold on May 22nd for $31,312. It was an auction, 42 bids, sold about $5,000 less than the current VCP average price of $36,300. Let me know, would you rather have this 1.5 or that PSA 1? I would personally pick this PSA 1.5 over that PSA 1, even though the price differential is about $10,000. All right, on to card number 4. We have another Mickey Mantle, this time his 51 Bowman rookie card in a PSA 6. Older slab, but based on the photograph here, other than being a little off center top to bottom, great looking card of Mickey Mantle's rookie card there. This one sold on May 16th for $34,500. It was an auction. There was only one bidder, but they got it for less than the VCP average price currently of $38,979. On to card number 3. We have the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle, again, the third copy showing up on the list here. This one, again, a half grade higher. We're looking at a PSA 2. Now, this one's much more off-center than that PSA 1.5. Less issues with the card, although you have some snowing of the surface there from scratches. You have that what's presumably a crease, probably not maybe full paper loss. The back looks nice, nice and clean overall, a little off centering. This one sold on May 29th for $42,650.25. It was a buy it now. Again, selling less than the VCP average price currently of $47,164 for a PSA 2. So again, if you would choose that 1.5 over a 1, would you choose this 2 over that 1.5? For me, I think I would still choose that 1.5 over this 2. Would love to know in the comments. All right, on to card number 2. We have the 1952 Topps Willie Mays in a PSA 7. Slightly better centering than that previous copy. I believe it was in a PSA 5. Overall, nice looking card. Sold on May 9th for $49,500. It was a buy it now. The VCP average price, $43,237. So this one sold for a premium over the average VCP price of about $6,000. All right, on to card number 1 from the 1950s. Yes, the 4th Mickey Mantle from 1952 Topps on this month's top 10 list. This one, again, another upgrade up to a PSA 3. So we had a 1, a 1.5, a PSA 2, and now a PSA 3. This one looks, maybe there's a small crease there down around his hands. Overall, the face and the bat, the overall image has some pretty nice eye appeal for a PSA 3. Definitely off center, left to right. Top to bottom isn't too bad. On the back, other than the centering, looks nice and clean. This one sold on May 6th for $82,500. It was a buy it now. VCP average price $69,280. So well above the average price for a PSA 3. To me, this looks a little bit like an outlier. It doesn't look bad for a PSA 3, but to me, that sales price seems a little high given where the average is for PSA 3s and given the centering of this card. Again, that's just me. Would love to know in the comments, what do you think about this sale of this PSA 3 versus the other lower grade copies? All right, on to the cards from the 1960s. Coming in at number 10, we have the 1964 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Nice looking card. Nothing really there to point out overall. I don't know if it's one of Mantle's more popular cards. I personally like the 64 Topps design. This one sold on May 10th for $5,995. It was a buy it now. That price was $1,700, maybe over the current VCP average price of $4,300. Again, not sure with some of these buy it nows. The buy it nows seem to be, at least from these top 10 lists here, going for overall slightly higher than the VCP average price. Auctions are tending to fall below the VCP average price. So I'm not sure if that means anything. Moving on to number 9. We have the 1963 Topps Pete Rose rookie card in a 7.5. Not too many issues there for a 7.5. I think that's spot on. It is a newer slab. You always had that issue with the top blue border there and the fullness of the red background there in the circles. Don't see hardly any print marks. Really nice looking card there for a 7.5. This one sold on May 22nd for $6,200. It was an auction, 47 bids, and the auction nailed it. Came in right at the current VCP average price of $6,200. Coming in at number 8, we have the 1962 Topps Carl Yastrzemski in a PSA 9. Great looking card there. Somewhat older slab. Although centering is there, it's hard to really see the corners. I mean, overall, on the back, maybe a little bit of diamond centering, but PSA 9, I could maybe see. These 62 Topps cards with the wood border are very prone to chipping or whiting. I don't see any of that here in this card. Overall, great looking example of the 62 Topps Yastrzemski. This one sold on May 3rd for $6,500. It was an auction. There are 2 bids. VCP average price is that $6,500. In a PSA 9, there's only 14. There are only 2 PSA 10s. On to card number 7. We have the 1963 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Older slab, no issue with the back. On the front, a little bit off centering, but again, we're not talking about a 9 or a 10 here. Obviously, that bottom green border there, there's just a touch of white. Again, for PSA 8, I think that's acceptable. All in all, really nice example there of that 63 Topps Mantle. This one sold on May 20th for $6,800. It was an auction, 35 bids, came in just above the current VCP average price of $6,499. On to card number 6. We have the 1964 Topps Hank Aaron in a PSA 9. Newer slab. I can see how this could get a PSA 9. Corners look sharp, centering's nice, registration, color, everything. Really great example there of that 64 Topps Hank Aaron. This one sold on May 7th for $7,000. It was a best offer. VCP average price, $5,068. This may be a case where, again, newer slab, PSA 9. If indeed PSA is grading tougher, to get a PSA 9 today probably resulted in the buyer willing to pay about $2,000 over the current VCP average price. And also in a PSA 9, there are only 85 copies. There are only 8 PSA 10s. Coming in at number 5, we have the 1960 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 8. Older slab, but all in all, great looking card, great eye appeal, corners, centering, it's all there. This one sold on May 14th for $9,355. This was an auction, 37 bids. Now this one did end up about $2,000 for the auction there, ahead of the VCP average price of $7,165. So not all auctions were going below VCP average price, some of them above. Just depends on, at any given time, the interest of a particular card, whether it be a buy it now or auction. If you get into a bidding war in an auction and really want the card, usually that results in a higher than normal price. All right, on to card number 4. We have the 1968 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 9. Can't really complain there. I do see a couple, I don't know if that is on the case or whether those are basically a common print error there where you have almost like those little hairs. I want to say that's fairly common and considered not really an error, that most of the cards have those marks there. I believe so. But anyway, overall, a nice looking example there of the 68 Topps Mickey Mantle. This one sold on May 22nd for $10,808. It was an auction, 39 bids, right around VCP average price of $10,483. In a PSA 9, there are 180 copies, but only 10 in a PSA 10. On to card number 3. We have the 1960 Topps Gil Hodges in a PSA 9. Somewhat older slab, back looks nice. Front centering is, I don't want to say perfect, maybe a little diamond centering. I guess for the time period, even maybe today, maybe not garner a 9, but it is a really sharp looking 1960 Topps Gil Hodges card. Now, this is a PSA pop in a 9 of only 20. Sold on May 14th for $11,201. It was an auction, 73 bids, and that is your current VCP average price, because the last PSA 9 sold in February of 2021 for only $500. I don't know. This is a bit of a head scratcher. Nothing against Gil Hodges collectors. Maybe this is a PSA registry or a player collector purchase. Obviously, with 73 bids, there were more than one, probably multiple interested parties, pushing that price up over $11,000. But just 2 years ago, one sold for $500. That is a huge appreciation there. Although, with only 20 PSA 9s out there, they may not come up for sale very often, and there are no PSA 10s. We'd love to know your thoughts on this Gil Hodges. On to card number 2. The 1967 Topps Mickey Mantle in a PSA 9. Newer slab, really nice centering, Overall, nice color, registration, you name it. Back's nice. I don't have any issues with this supposedly being a PSA 9. Great looking 67 Topps Mickey Mantle. This one sold on May 11th for $13,800. It was a buy it now, just a couple $100 higher than the current VCP average price of $13,558. In a PSA 9, there are 79 graded copies, only 2 PSA 10s. All right, on to the number one card from the 1960s. We have the 1968 Topps Nolan Ryan rookie card. Every month, you're almost guaranteed, just in the 50s, having a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle show up. In the 60s, invariably, you'll find a Nolan Ryan rookie card show up somewhere in the top 10 list. For the month of May, it showed up as card number 1 because this one is an 8.5. Most times, other cards showing in the top 10 list are just PSA 8 examples, and that half a grade usually bumps that card value up somewhat significantly. This one sold on May 7th for $27,500. It was a best offer, about $6,000 roughly above the current VCP average price of $21,962. Now, again, somewhat older slab, although I've seen some 8.5s in the past that I've criticized because the back seemed more off-center than I think would garner an 8.5. This one in this case is very well centered for that 8.5 and on the front as well. All right, on to the cards from the 1970s. Coming in at number 10, we have another Nolan Ryan, this time the 1972 Topps Nolan Ryan. Personally, I do like some of his action shots, but of his portrait or non-action cards, I just love this 72 Topps Nolan Ryan card. Love that old-time Angels hat. Just that portrait there looking off into the distance. Great looking card there. This one's in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 13th for $3,183. It was an auction, 38 bids. A little bit under the current VCP average price of $3,565. In a PSA 9, there were 189 graded copies, only 9 PSA 10s. Coming in at number 9, we have the 1977 Topps Rookie Catchers, also known as Dale Murphy's rookie card. In a PSA 10, we've seen PSA 10 copies of the Dale Murphy rookie card show up on various top 10 lists from the 70s. This one looks, again, overall well-centered. The back looks nice. When these PSA 10s come up, there's lots of interest in these Dale Murphy rookie cards in a PSA 10. This one sold on May 4th for $3,300, 4 bids. But this one, unlike some other copies that I've reported on in previous months that I believe garnered maybe close to $5,000, again, this one only coming in at $3,300, where the current VCP average price is $4,287. In a PSA 10, there are 62 copies. On to card number 8. We have the first of what I consider the PSA registry cards. This is a 1975 Topps Herb Washington in a PSA 10. Sold on May 3rd for $3,438. It was an auction, 5 bids. And that is your current VCP average price of a PSA 10, because the last PSA 10 sold for just over $200 back in 2019. In a PSA 10, there are only 3 copies. On to card number 7. We have the 1975 Topps Robin Yount, often showing up here on the top 10 lists. This one is in a PSA 9. Front looks nice. Sometimes you do get some print errors or smudges. Sometimes that background does have that sort of snowy look, I guess you can call it that. A little off-center on the back, but again, we're not talking about a PSA 10 here. Overall, I believe a very fair grade, I guess. For this PSA 9, sold on May 29th for $3,500. It was a best offer. VCP average price, $3,239, so right around the VCP average price. In a PSA 9, there are 268 copies. There are only 6 PSA 10s. On to card number 6. We have the 1971 Topps Thurman Munson All-Star Rookie. Obviously, this is his second year Rookie Cup card in a really nice PSA 8. And those black borders can kill you, but this one here, I hardly see any nicking. This is a sharp looking 1971 Topps Thurman Munson. Even the centering, that left to right, is almost perfect, which is rare to see. Great looking copy. This one sold on May 28th for $4,090. It was an auction, 46 bids, right almost smack on the current VCP average price of $4,105. On to card number 5. We have the 75 Topps George Brett rookie card, another common card showing up on the top 10 lists in a PSA 9. This one sold on May 18th for $5,554. It was a buy it now, $1,200 roughly above the current VCP average price of $4,372. Again, not sure why this card may have garnered that premium, although centering is almost spot on. Sometimes even PSA 9s, you get a little bit of a diamond centering. You do have that little print spot there between the Y and the A. Again, trying to find a reason why this one may have sold for a premium. Great looking card nonetheless, but again, about $1,200 over the current VCP average price. In a PSA 9, there are 315 copies, but only 11 in a PSA 10. On to card number 4. Here is the second of the PSA registry sales. We have a 1975 Topps Charlie Williams. Don't know too much about Charlie Williams, except that his PSA 10 copy sold for $5,688 on May 9th. It was an auction, 15 bids, and of course that is the current going price for a PSA 10, because the last one only sold for $325 3 years ago. Just unbelievable. From $325 to almost $5,700 for a Charlie Williams. But in a PSA 10, there are only 4 copies, so if you want one and one pops up, I guess you'll have to pay for it. On to card number 3. We have the 75 Topps Steve Carlton in a Gem Mint 10. Now, as you know, I'm prone to spotting things with PSA 10s. It's just my nature. On the front here, I believe this little between the E and the S, I think that's on the holder. I don't think that's on the card, but I do have an issue with the back. Again, to me, if you're going to grade a card at the highest grade possible, it should be without hardly any flaws. That's my opinion. This one is way too off-center on the back for me to say, hey, this is a perfect Gem Mint 10. I would give it a solid 9 because of the centering on the back, but again, that's just me. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments. This one sold on May 13th for $6,500. It was a best offer right at the VCP average price of $6,505. In the PSA 10, there are only 6 copies. All right, on to card number 2. We have the 1977 Topps Nolan Ryan record breaker in a PSA 10. While I was critical of that Steve Carlton in a PSA 10, honestly, I can't really find anything to fault. What new holder also great looking card of that record breaker from 77 Topps of Nolan Ryan. This one sold on May 16th for $6,798.98. It was an auction, 24 bids, and that is the VCP current average price. Again, because the last PSA 10 sold for $535 back in 2019, just 4 years ago, from $500 to almost $6,800. But in a PSA 10, there are only 9 copies. All right, on to the number one card sale for the 1970s. We have the 77 tops Johnny Bench in a PSA 10. Again, with the image that was taken, doesn't appear to be, in my opinion, anything that wouldn't categorize it as a PSA 10. Mid-range in terms of age, I think, of the slab, but well-centered front and back. Now, this sale may be a bit of an outlier. It was listed as sold on May 6th for $11,000. It was listed as an auction with one bidder. Now, according to Vintage Card Prices, this card has not shown up in their database. There may be some sort of lag. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know if the eBay authentication process has anything to do with the data and it being validated or whatever. I'm not sure. But according to VCP, their average current price of a PSA 10 is $6,521. So to have a 77 tops Johnny Bench PSA 10 sell for $11,000. Again, according to eBay, this sale did take place. In a PSA 10, there are 21 copies. But again, according to Vintage Card Prices in their database, this card has not shown up yet to change or impact the average price. So again, this could be an outlier or a possible non-sale. But again, according to eBay, this did rank the number one card from the 1970s in May at $11,000. Well, there you have it, the top 10 PSA vintage baseball card sales on eBay for the month of May 2023. Some interesting cards, some interesting final strike prices on some of these cards. Again, would love to know your comments on some of these cards. Do you think someone got a bargain on a particular card? Do you think someone paid way too much for another card? Again, these top 10 lists are always interesting to go through and just see what cards make up the top 10 list. With that, that's all I have for you. So until next time, thanks for watching.